Hey, welcome everybody to this month's episode of Cronin's Corner. We are coming to you live from the FATV studios, delayed by 1 month. But I am so pleased to be joined today by Dr. Nancy Murray, who is one of the leaders in our education community here in North Central Massachusetts and a part of the Fitchburg State University team. So Dr. Murray, thank you so much for being here today. And what is your role at Fitchburg State, and how long have you been there for?
Okay, so I'm currently the Dean for the School of Education and the School of Business. I've been at Fitchburg State for 15 years, going on my 16th year. I started as a teacher in the school systems, primarily in special education, and really taught some courses for Fitchburg State, then continued my education and had a goal of helping students have really high quality teachers in the field. So the best way to reach those students was really for me to be at a university to help prepare teachers.
And I think as I've met you and as I've learned about your work, one of the things I really appreciate is that you are not in a silo at Fitchburg State University, and you're not just focused on your students. I mean, you have really been outward facing in the sense that you've worked with other community leaders, our local superintendents, and tried to really align your curriculum and your mission and the objectives of your program with what our community needs here in North Central. So can you talk a little bit about your relationships with our school districts outside of Fitchburg State?
Absolutely. And keeping in mind, I think that education, the goal for us is to always provide a safe, high quality learning environment for all students. And that's not just at Fitchburg State, I mean, or in the area, but it's in all of our outside communities in our regions. So every month I have the pleasure of meeting with our superintendents. And as we came out of COVID and we began to meet face to face, which was really exciting, one of the issues that continue to come up, as many people know, is that we have a teacher shortage. And so the superintendents began to brainstorm collaboratively of how can we begin to meet the needs of all of the districts and increase the teacher population, but while increasing the teacher population, making sure that we are reaching out and getting teachers, prepared teachers that are representative of our students, because we don't necessarily have that diversity and that representation in our school systems.
So, I mean, just stepping back, I mean, what are some of the broad issues? I think, you know, we're still coming to terms with how harmful kids not being in person in schools because of COVID was for their short-term and long-term development. But what are some of the challenges that the superintendents and yourself as working in post-secondary education have seen?
So one of the challenges for the superintendents has definitely been getting teachers. And I don't mean to go back to that, but that is a huge challenge for them.
Bread and butter, right?
Yeah. Yep. And it's primarily teachers, special education teachers, that there's a need for. I get almost every day, at least 3 times a week, emails from principals, superintendents. Nancy, do you have anybody? We're looking for a middle school teacher. We're looking for this teacher. So that is, I think, the first area for which they have to be concerned with, because if you don't have a teacher for your students, you know, that's obviously a huge issue and a crisis. The other thing that they've seen too is mental health issues. Students coming out of COVID, readjusting to the classroom, even if it's not mental health, but it's major anxiety about coming back into the classroom. I think we need to be cognizant of that. We need to be aware of the transitions that students are feeling. I know some people that their children are still at home and being taught at home because the transition has been so difficult for them.
And I know, you know, the mental health crisis that I think affects especially that we are feeling in our school system. I think we're feeling everywhere in the community. But it's like the teacher shortage and the fact that we just, we don't have enough trained professionals to meet the need, both, and whether that's counselors at our schools or professionals in inpatient units in healthcare facilities across the state. So another thing that is really hard to, kind of, flick your fingers? Yeah, you can't make it happen overnight, right? So it's tough to onboard people, and you really need to have vision and look 3, 4, 5, 8 years down the road.
Yep.
So returning to kind of your mission and your primary work, can you talk about just the numbers and how the numbers and demographics have changed in communities like Fitchburg and Leominster and Gardner and Clinton, and how we need to respond by diversifying our teacher workforce?
Yes, absolutely. And I don't have the percentages in the top of my head right now, but we have seen a definite increase in our Hispanic and Latinx student population. However, there's a huge discrepancy between the diversity that we see in our students in the classroom and our teachers. When we look at enrollment in the university, and this is across all institutions, not just Fitchburg State. I run what's called SCOPE. It's a meeting we meet monthly with the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education and the Department of Higher Ed, with all of the deans for the state institutions in Massachusetts. And this is, we are all experiencing a decrease in enrollment in education, as well as in human services, as well as in nursing. So I think that you hit the nail on the head in saying that, we've got issues in regard to when we're thinking about the well-being of our students in the schools, being able to take care of them in regard to mental health and support families and supporting the medical field, in essence, where there's a crisis almost there as well.
Right.
So, but in regard to what we could do for an outreach is really taking a look at how we can support all students, and especially our high school students, really starting in middle school, that are representative of their communities. And how can we support them financially, emotionally, and through strong guidance, not just with their guidance counselors in the high school, but support from Fitchburg State, so that they can see and understand a clear pathway. The other big piece that's always been really important to me is that when I'm in high school, if I'm a student in high school and I'm taking some courses through early college or whatever, the message to me that really needs to be sent is that, hey, you have the skill, the ability, the drive to be successful.
This is for you. You belong here, right?
Yes, I'm just going to use those words. Exactly, that you belong here and that you can do this and you don't have to do it alone. And I think the pathway which we created with Mr. Roach, Jeremy Roach, and Dr. Jokola at Fitchburg, with Fitchburg High School, is a wonderful model, and I can speak about that if you want me to, but I have already reached out and spoken to other schools to begin to replicate the model.
And this is something that's so exciting to me, because this isn't the workforce shortage and our diversifying our teachers is something that affects every school district across the state, especially in Boston, especially in our gateway cities. And I do feel like Fitchburg State and yourself are really leading across the state. And one thing I think about a lot, and it's a conversation I had with Bob Jokola, but in some cases it's the best of times and the worst of times. And it's the best of times in the sense that schools have resources that they haven't had in a long time. Both, we just, at the end of July, Governor Baker signed the fiscal year 23 budget that the legislature sent him. I mean, that includes increases of more than $7 million to Fitchburg Public Schools, more than $7 million to Leominster Public Schools year over year. That's a one-year increase. So we've got resources, but you can't snap your fingers. I thought about it, right? Snap. Yeah, I was looking for it.
Snap as well.
I've only had 2 coffees this morning. But but making sure we have a pathway that is sending kids from our community back into our classrooms, and we want that, right? We want
Yes.
kids to go through Fitchburg Public Schools or Leominster Public Schools, go to Fitchburg State or ULowell or a state university, and then come back and teach. So you have been leading and innovating on the Future Educator pathway. So can you tell us what that is and why I'm so excited about
Yes,
it? Yeah.
I will try, because there's so many moving parts to it, but
Yeah.
it's really exciting to me as well. And the other, before I get into what the pathway looks like, the other thing is that we are creating right now a template that is, so as a freshman, what do I do? Who do I contact?
A freshman in high school.
In high school, thank you for clarifying that. When I'm a sophomore in high school, what can I take? Who do I contact? So that when I'm no longer in this position, when I'm gone, someone else is in, or vice versa, if there's a new superintendent, that this creative pathway doesn't just go away, because
Right.
I always worry that happens, that when someone is passionate about something and they're supporting it and driving the bus for that it's going well, but then when that person steps down, sometimes it doesn't continue. So we've been working diligently on creating a clear pathway that can be sustainable.
Right.
And so what it looks like is starting in, there's a number of other initiatives that are like embedded in it. So if I'm a freshman in high school, I have the opportunity to be a part of what's called the Future Educator Academy at Fitchburg State. That includes taking a number of micro-credentialing, like workshops, earning badges around CPS, we've just added one about, I love it, understanding finances. So how does that benefit every student is when I get a credit card, what happens? My interest rate.
Financial literacy.
Thank you, that's
right?
the word I was
Yeah.
looking for, yes. And so we've added that piece of it. We have, they can attend the CRTLA, which is, it trains them to be a tutor, and they earn a certificate, not from Fitchburg State, but from the agency, to be a tutor at any university. So they can earn that. So we have a number of badges and workshops that students their freshman and sophomore year can take. They can also...
And in the back of their mind, right, they know this opportunity is
Yep.
going to be there as juniors and seniors. And so they're kind of dipping their toe in the water to say, is this something that maybe I'm interested or maybe I want to pursue or am passionate about?
Absolutely, and thanks, because you also reminded me that we get them now on campus. So again, it begins to develop them feeling comfortable in a college campus, feeling as if they belong in a college campus, and developing relationships, because the people that do most of the workshops are faculty at Fitchburg State.
Right.
So they're making those connections already. That happens their freshman and sophomore year. Starting their junior year, they can take different early college courses. So
Can we stop right there?
Absolutely.
Can you explain what early college? This is. I love early college,
Yeah.
but can you explain to everybody what early college is?
absolutely. So early college it's almost like a dual enrollment, that students, while they are in high school, are taking college level courses that it's no cost to them, and they are taking courses that...
So parents, this can save you $100,000. If you're listening right now, record it, TiVo this.
Yeah.
You can save a lot of money by listening
I
to
have
Dr.
other
Murray
money
right
pieces
now.
too to help with
Yeah,
that.
okay.
But so yes, so they can take 2 education courses, and they take one their junior year and one their senior year. That's just the education courses that they take that will count towards their degree. They are actually the exact same courses that they would be taking their freshman year at Fitchburg State. So they're not watered down, it's the same content, and they're taught by Fitchburg State full-time faculty. They also take other gen ed required courses. So writing 1 and writing 2, they can take those as well. So they can take up to 12 credits, meaning 4 courses, almost a full semester, while they are in high school, that count towards their degree at Fitchburg State. And again, I think, as we've mentioned a number of times, I think not only does it allow them to get 12 credits under their belt, the financial aspect of it and all that, but they also see themselves as being able to do it. Like sometimes that's scary.
And for first generation
just- yeah.
All right, you hit it.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm
No,
teeing
no,
you
no,
up.
no, no. It's so funny, you're
this is the
reading my
alley-oop.
mind.
This is the alley-oop.
Yes. Yeah, it's for the first generation students. I was a first gen student. And so I think, having that feeling of, yeah, I do belong here, and yes, I can
do this.
that.
I'm doing well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, these people are left and right of me.
Yeah.
They got nothing on me.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And they have supports, and that we care about them.
So just to step back too, I think this is like the Future Educator Academy. This is something that North Central is really leading on. And it's because we have great partners in Fitchburg Stadium, Mount Wachusett Community
Yes.
College, but Fitchburg Public School, Fitchburg High School, Leominster High School, Gardner, Air Shirley, all of those high schools have early college programs. And again, if you are a parent of a rising freshman or sophomore, great opportunities to save a lot of money, to avoid a lot of college debt. I know last year, a student graduated from Gardner High School with their associate's degree from Mount Wachusett the day before they graduated from high school because of early college. And so what an incredible head start.
It absolutely is. And it's not just in education.
Right.
So I want to make sure that parents know that, business has early college. The gen ed courses are always available, but we do have other programs. There's business and there's education, definitely have early college courses that are specific to those plans of study.
Good. And these, from my kind of purview in the legislature, this is something that the state has recently really invested in.
Absolutely.
I know 2 years ago, they doubled the size of early college programs, I think from $5 to $10 million. And then this year in the fiscal year 23 budget, we doubled it nearly again to $19 million. So, that's thousands of kids across the state with a huge number here in North Central that are going to have that opportunity. So I'm sorry I interrupted you. Can we let's get back to the Future Educator pathway.
I can't remember everything, so this is great. So as they are juniors and seniors, they're taking their early college courses, which directly apply. During that time as well, the other component that's part of this pathway is that they will be connected with an advisor from Fitchburg State University that works with their guidance counselor and them. So again, really creating a bridge that is not only financially supported, but they're taking college courses to give them a head start, but also, again, going back to feeling like I can do this. I think that is often such a barrier for individuals thinking, well, I really can't do that, or I don't feel comfortable. So that to me is really important. So they'll have an advisor from Fitchburg State that will meet with them and talk with them starting their junior year, as well as a peer mentor. Now, the peer mentor, we often think, oh, we're going to have seniors as peer mentors, and one day it dawned on me that, hey, that's not going to work. So the peer mentors are going to be sophomores, and the reason I'm selecting sophomores is because if I'm a junior and senior, and when I come to Fitchburg State as a freshman, I want them to still have that connection with a peer.
I know somebody on campus, right?
Right. So if I do a senior, they're going to be gone. A sophomore will be a senior by the time they become a freshman. So that will help them with that transition as well. So that's a big aspect of it. The other thing that's really important financially, and kudos to Fitchburg High School for really leading the way on this and their ideas. And I've already spoken with the superintendent in Leominster and is all on board for really being creative, mirroring what is being done and/or doing something similar. They are offering, starting their junior year, any student that is in this pathway will be guaranteed like a position in the summer, but it's an academic position. So supporting students in elementary during their summer programs and things like that, where it will be a paid position. So again, helping with the financial aspect for them to try to save for college. They also have, what's the word I want? They've secured funding from their alumni and from the Wallace Foundation. So Wallace Foundation, I think, has $30,000 that they've secured that students can apply for those scholarships for going into Fitchburg State. So we're really trying to create a pathway that has
starts when you're 14 years old, right?
Yeah.
And you know what I think is such a strength of the program too is you think of all those kind of social but structural supports from when they're kind of onboarded softly as freshmen and sophomores to having mentorship with students at Fitchburg State throughout, and that's a lot easier than catching a kid when they're 19 and trying to get together some money to pay for a semester of college.
Right. And it's scary. I have 4 kids of my own that have all gone through college, and looking back and knowing ones that were more successful with a college pathway, what really made the difference for them. So I always think about that, and I always talk to the students when they come in about, okay, I'm gonna put my mom hat on now, that, being connect with the school, because if you do something at the university, you're making connections and you're actually creating a support system.
Right.
So I want to create that support system for them. I want to make sure that they are part of something and have those connections, because we know that students do better if they feel like they belong and they have someone they can go to.
So where are we in standing up the program, and when is the first graduate of the Future Educator Academy going to start at Fitchburg Fitchburg Public Schools?
Okay, well,
Best case scenario.
I just met with a student on Monday for an orientation that is in the pathway, and I'm very excited. She'll be starting in the fall. She's coming in, so because it hasn't been in place, she did some of the early college on her own, but she wasn't officially part of the program. But I grabbed her, and
she's got the designation now.
Yes,
yeah.
And so I connected her back with Jeremy, and so to be able to apply for those scholarships, so that when they come in and once they're accepted into Fitchburg State, everything doesn't go away. They have the scholarships for their first 2 years, and then their junior year, Fitchburg State's donors and being able to get grants and things, we've secured $1,000 for them every semester. So starting their junior year, they'll get $2,000, $1,000 each semester towards their tuition at Fitchburg State. My hope is that we can increase that, to be honest.
You should ask your state senator for some money.
You know what? I was thinking of asking him, but
I'll work on it. I'll work on it.
I know you are. I know.
Yeah.
But because it's so important, but I don't ever want to promise something that we can't do.
Sure.
And of course,
or make sustainable.
Right.
Too,
and
right?
President Lapidus, wants to make sure that it is sustainable and that we're not promising someone anything that we can't guarantee.
And where would you like to see in terms of output? Where do you think the program will go in terms of being able to deliver, 5 new teachers to a school system every year? Where would you like to see it head?
Our current goal is 5 a year. So that is our current goal, that we want to have 5 students coming in every year. And then after their 4 years or whatever, going back into their community, those 5 students. Because part of the overall agreement is also that they will give back to their community. And the other exciting piece that I don't think has ever been done, is that the high school has guaranteed them a position in Fitchburg Public Schools. They can't guarantee a teaching position. Most likely there'll be an opening, but if there isn't, a paraprofessional position or something to get their foot in the door.
The system.
But they are guaranteed a position in the system, as well as supports. The other thing, and I know I'm rambling, sorry.
No.
But the other thing is, after they, many times we have a mentoring process designed within the school systems. However, we know that that first 3 years of teaching can be really tough. So I've created on our website, and for teachers that graduate, an alumni resource page. So we keep sources within, like resources in that, and there's a link where they can email a question, and then our grad assistant vets the question, so then that will go to, if it's a reading question, I have a student that's struggling with reading, any other suggestions, what can I do? We can vet that, send it to our teachers, the faculty that are teaching reading, and they can respond to that student. So really, if you can see, I'm trying to make it starting in the
Soup
high
to
school,
nuts,
yeah,
right?
all
Yeah.
the way around, so that it benefits our teachers and our students in our school systems.
One of the most intimidating things I've done since I've gotten this position, I've been invited a few times to Lunenburg High School, and standing in front of a group of 20 or 30 like sophomores is pretty intimidating. And I don't know how teachers do it, right? I mean, I thought I was interesting and dynamic, and I was putting kids to sleep left and right.
Any middle school or high school can
Middle school,
do
yeah.
that to you.
So it's I don't know how you do it,
But they're wonderful. And one thing that I do that is really important to me personally is that I always want our students to leave, and teachers, that every day we have an opportunity as an educator. To me, to be a teacher is a gift. You have this opportunity to positively impact a student's life. And I always say that to my students, that you have this wonderful opportunity to really impact an individual's life, whether they're early childhood, elementary, middle school, or high school. And to me, that's a gift. It's a difficult gift to take on sometimes, but that is a gift. So
one of the things that we've kind of danced around so far is when we talk about diversifying our teacher workforce, we're also talking about diversifying the number of languages that those teachers speak.
Yes.
Can you talk about, and again, it's a demographics issue in terms of how our population here in North Central has changed, especially in our gateway communities. Can you talk about how your model responds to the challenge of an increased number of English language learners?
Absolutely. With the supports and the outreach and having us go speak to students, and actually Lourdes Ramirez, who is our placement officer, she does all of our placements, and she does outreaches to schools as well. She is bilingual, and speaking to students, again, to send the message that you have support, you can do this, you belong, and you're needed. Like, there is such a need. So through those types of supports, our hope is that we pull students in. And we also, as far as our teachers, we have started a ESL certificate at the graduate level, and we're pulling in a minor for that, because I don't think enough teachers have as much knowledge base as they need to around
And that's a really
ESLs.
simple idea, but pretty profound, right? I mean, we need teachers that speak the same languages as the students in their classroom, right?
Yep.
So what are you most excited about in terms of how this model could spread across the state? Because you alluded to your work meeting with different people like you who are at other state universities or in charge of other districts. So where do you hope this model could go in the next 10 or 20 years?
I hope everyone does. And the nice part is...
Are you going to get royalties or anything?
No.
Yeah.
I'm really, I just, like I said, my bottom line, it sounds so corny, but my bottom line is always the students, and always has been my entire life. And I think that I've had the opportunity to share this model at different conferences or meetings with DHE. And I've been asked to kind of present that. And that's why I'm really trying to get the logistics done, so that I can also say, well, here's a model.
Tailor it to what you need.
Tailor it.
Right.
Here's the logistical aspect of it so that it's sustainable. So I am always one to share anything, because, and I want everyone to do it. I want everyone to be using it. I'm excited to be meeting with Leominster. I met with the new superintendent in Athol Royalston. He's excited about looking at this pathway as well. So the more people that see the pathway, understand it, like you said, tweak it to meet their needs and their district's needs, but the bottom line is we need more diverse teachers that represent the students so they see themselves in their teachers. We need more highly qualified teachers as well with that, and we need teachers in the field. But it's not just going to happen without us providing the necessary support, the bridges, and those pathways that send all those messages.
Dr. Berry, I'm so grateful for all your work. I think it's inspiring for everybody to hear and learn about and I'll make sure to get you your state senator's email so you can shake them down for some money. But this is just something that I'm so glad that the university is supporting, and it's really a team of teams here in North Central that you are spearheading with the university, the different school districts, their superintendents, and it's going to have a huge effect and change a lot of people's lives. So I'm grateful to all your work. I'm grateful to you for your leadership, and thank you for coming by.
Thank you so much.
Snap your fingers,
Yeah,
right?
I got that.
Good. All right, that's it for this month, everybody. Dr. Nancy Murray from Fitchburg State University, and we look forward to seeing you again soon on next month's show.
Great. Thank you.